Hi, and this is a video about how to get some basic green screen or color removal in Camtasia. So here I have a video, it's in my timeline, and I've recorded myself in front of a green background. So this is green screening. It's sort of like what the weatherman will do so that they can, superimpose him or her on top of a map. So a couple of things you can do to make your green screening work a little bit better. One is get your green screen as, or whatever you're using as your green screen, as flat and as uniform as you possibly can with as few shadows as you can. Get good lighting if at all possible. The second thing is you should try and mask out as much of the video as you possibly can so it doesn't have to work so hard to green screen everything. So get as much of it down as you can. And then, don't wear a shirt that has some color in it that matches the green screen, because then it'll start making you look transparent or your video look transparent as you remove that color. Okay, so let's get to how we try and remove this color. So if you go to Tools and Visual Properties, that's one way to do it. Or you can click on the little icons over here. The Visual Properties is not in my little list of icons, and that's because I ran out of space. But if I move it over here, you'll see it's under Visual Properties. But if you don't move it, you can just click More and click down to Visual Properties. Now you have to have the track that you want to remove the color from highlighted, and then you can work with it. Okay, so you need to scroll down and click on Remove a Color then. And then there's a couple of different options here, but let's just work with some of the simplest things. So you want to pick the color. So I usually go down and click on Select Color. It has a little eyedropper. And then you want to click on the eyedropper the color that you want to remove. So just click somewhere. And there you can see it actually did a pretty good job. It did a pretty good job. Now the tolerance will pick how much of it it's going to remove. So if I move the tolerance, you see a lot of the background there, and then as I move it, it gets it pretty well. For this video, it worked out pretty well. And now you see if you move it along, it's doing okay. Now you can see a little bit, if you zoom in, a little bit like in my hair, some of the edges, it's not perfect, and you can try and fix that with a little bit more tolerance, but then you can see the hair goes away. Maybe it's getting rid of some gray hairs. That would be nice. But at any rate, it's also possible that you have some different shades of the background and you can't get rid of them. Really, the Camtasia only has this fairly simple version of this, and you need to get your green screening, your recording as best as you can if you want to do it in Camtasia. If you have a little bit more complex green screening that you need to do, you probably need to load it into something like Adobe After Effects or Final Cut Pro or one of these more elaborate video editing or motion graphic softwares, so that you can get at multiple hues and that sort of thing. So then you can just play around with these dials and try to get it exactly right and try and make it so you don't turn yourself or whatever you're trying to remove the color from too transparent. Okay, so that's just basic green screening in Camtasia. Another thing I would say is quite useful is, for some reason it comes up, is removing a color from an image or something like that. Say for example, I dragged this image into my timeline, and let me just put it right there. Now, it's often the case you can't get it just set just right, and you're playing with a lot of layers or a lot of pictures and things at the same time, and you want things a certain way. You can actually just click on Remove a Color, and I see how this is kind of blocking my face. Well, I could bring myself forward, but if for some reason you didn't want to do that, you can often just select the color and get rid of the white, and that'll you can see now my face is now in front of it just because it's made the white transparent from that image. And for whatever the reason, I find that useful every now and again, though of course you could always just move the picture up to closer up to the front. But I think sometimes when I'm working with lots and lots of pictures at the same time, and I want one set in a really particular way. I want it to be on top, but I don't want it to be clipping something else out. Use the remove color tool for that specific purpose, and there it works perfectly because it's just exactly removing that one color. So as long as the image doesn't have that color repeated in something that you want, that'll work really well. Okay, so that's basic green screening and removing a color in Camtasia Studio.